Good afternoon, Patriots. Okay, let's talk about something a little bit different today. Let's talk about the left. Okay, left. Okay, let's see. This is my left, right? And that's my right. So if I'm on the left politically, then I'm for a more totalitarian type government, a government that is more protective of everything and is more controlling and manipulative of everything. So if you think about uh, dependence and independence, if you're on the left, you're going to be dependent on government. And if you're on the right, you're going to be independent from government. And so when our founders wrote the Declaration of Independence, they wanted us to be independent. They wanted us to be responsible. They wanted us to be self-reliant. They wanted us to have ownership of our own property. And so what's happening in America today is we've made a shift more to the left. And going to the left means we want more government control. And so what does that say about the people who are on the left? Well, what it tells me is if they're dependent on government, they must not feel very good about themselves, because if you really felt good about yourself and you had a lot of self-esteem and you felt like, hey, I can handle just about anything myself without government interference or without the government regulating me or the government restricting everybody else, then I feel pretty good about myself. But if I can't do that, then I'm a leftist, and so then I'm going to depend on the government to take care of me. So I don't really feel that good about myself. I'm not that confident. I don't have the self-esteem. So what's happening in today in politically America is we've really got one political party. It's just that the one party is a lot further left than the other party, and what therefore is a very large, very fast expansion of the welfare state to take care of people. And the other party wants the same thing, but they just want to do it a little bit slower and a little bit more gradual pace. They're not that adamant that it has to take place right now. So if you're on the left, you want the government to take care of you. Why do you want the government to take care of you? That makes no sense to me, unless you don't feel like you can do it yourself. And that's really what it comes down to. So all this BS about identity politics and all these different movements and everything like that, they're meaningless. They don't mean anything, because all they are is to get the government to make more rules and more regulations and restrict the rights of other people, just like they want to take guns away from people because they're afraid that if somebody has a gun, somebody might get shot. So if they take away the guns from all the law-abiding citizens, what about the criminals in America today? They ain't going to give up their guns. You can take that to the bank, can't you? And by the way, the banks aren't really our friends either, are they? So if you're a leftist, you're really, you say, well, we're progressive, but there's nothing progressive about the left. They are completely regressive, because they want to regress us back into a form of serfdom, a form of government control, a form where the government does everything. It keeps us on the farm, so to say. So if you're what's known as a liberal, which is not really the classical liberals of Thomas Jefferson, for example, but if you're on the left and you like socialism and you want everything, the government to give you everything free, then you're dependent on the government. Then you feel like, well, I can't do it on my own. I have to get somebody to give it to me free. I got to make the government give it to me free. I got to have the government take it away from somebody else. And so I don't feel like I'm good enough, or I'm strong enough, or I'm comfortable enough to do it on my own. So I have to depend on somebody else. So that's really what we've got in America today, folks. We've got this thing going on where 40% of the people now prefer socialism over capitalism and democracy. And then they also use the term, well, we really like social democracy. We're going to be social democrats like Bernie's people. But being a social democrat, that's an oxymoron. And they're really morons, because there ain't no such thing as a socialism and Democrats. That socialism and democracy doesn't work together. Doesn't happen that way. So for all you watching, I want you to feel like, hey, I'm responsible. I'm self-reliant. I'm not, and I'm independent. I'm not dependent on the government, and that's where I want our government to be. I want our government to be a very small, streamlined, limited in power government that's close to home, not controlled by the political establishment within the Beltway, which is soon going to be in the UN building and soon going to be the globalist New World Order, where somebody in The Hague or someplace tells us what we can do and when we can do it. Okay, folks, that's talking about the left, and we want you to be right, so stick to the right. God bless America. God save our America. We need you now more than ever before.